The house that kept receipts. At 2:17 a.m. the house made a sound. It wasn't loud, it wasn't sudden. It sounded like paper tearing, not ripping, tearing, slowly, carefully, as if someone didn't want to wake anyone, room by room. When police arrived later that night, the neighborhood was silent in a way that felt rehearsed. Porch lights were off, windows were dark. Even the street seemed to hold its breath. The front door of the house was locked from the inside. The windows were sealed, the alarm system showed no record of being triggered, and yet inside 3 people were dead. There was no blood on the walls, no overturned furniture, no signs of a struggle, just one object, placed with intention in the center of the kitchen table, a grocery receipt. The Caldwell family had never stood out. That was part of the reason no one noticed them. Mark Caldwell worked in insurance, risk assessment, policy compliance, numbers that predicted outcomes before they happened. He wore neutral colors and spoke in measured sentences. His co-workers described him as dependable and emotionally distant, the kind of man you trusted with documents but not with secrets. His wife, Elaine, volunteered at a local shelter twice a week. She kept spreadsheets for donation schedules and inventory. Neighbors said she smiled often but never lingered in conversation. Her garden was trimmed with mathematical precision. Their son, Noah, was 16, an honor student, quiet, withdrawn. He spent most of his time in the basement, headphones on, music loud enough to drown out the world. Teachers described him as polite, intelligent, and hard to read. The house reflected them perfectly. No clutter, no photographs on the walls, no signs of unfinished projects or impulsive living. The refrigerator was organized by expiration date. The trash bins were emptied on schedule. Nothing felt lived in, which is why the crime scene felt so wrong. Mark was found in his home office. He was seated upright in his chair, facing his computer. His eyes were open. His hands rested gently on the keyboard, fingers positioned as if he had simply paused mid-sentence. There were no defensive wounds, no signs of panic, no spilled coffee, no broken objects. Elaine was found upstairs in the bedroom. She lay beneath the blankets, arms folded neatly across her chest. Her expression was calm. There was no evidence of a struggle. No signs that she had tried to get up. It looked like someone who had gone to sleep intentionally. Noah was found in the basement. Headphones still on. Music paused mid-song, phone face down beside him. All 3 deaths had occurred within minutes of each other. Initial theories ranged from carbon monoxide to gas leaks, but those ideas collapsed quickly. Autopsies told a different story. Each family member had died from poisoning, not the same poison. 3 different toxins, each lethal, each acting on a different system of the body, each chosen carefully. One affected the heart, one shut down the lungs, one caused catastrophic neurological failure. This wasn't random, this wasn't a mistake, this was precision. Someone had taken the time to tailor each death, and yet someone also wanted the deaths to be noticed, because of the receipt. The grocery receipt was unremarkable at first glance. Milk, bread, apples, cleaning supplies, the kind of purchase made thousands of times a day. The timestamp showed early evening. The store was 2 miles away. Security footage showed nothing unusual, just a figure at self-checkout, face obscured by the camera angle. But written on the back of the receipt were 3 numbers, 14.993.4, 70.00. No explanation. At first, detectives assumed it was meaningless. Habit, doodles, a grocery calculation, until a junior analyst noticed something subtle. Those numbers matched the prices of items that were not listed on the receipt. Items that had been scanned, then removed. Items that could be used to create compounds that were odorless, tasteless, and difficult to detect after death. Someone had purchased them, then erased them, then left the receipt behind as if it were a signature. As the investigation continued, officers began reporting things they couldn't quite explain. The house smelled strongly of bleach, even though utilities had been shut off. The smell was strongest in the basement. Several officers reported hearing footsteps on the stairs when no one else was present. One officer swore he heard a drawer slide open behind him. A body camera captured a sound so faint it was nearly missed during review. A whisper. After enhancement, the words became clear. "Check the drawer." Inside the drawer was an old burner phone. No SIM card, no call history, no contact. One unsent draft message glowed faintly on the screen. "If anything happens, it wasn't an accident. The house knows." The message had been typed by Mark Caldwell, which meant Mark had been afraid long before anyone died. The basement blueprints didn't match the structure of the house. Behind a false wall, investigators discovered a hidden room. It wasn't large, but it was deliberate, unregistered, undocumented, soundproofed. Inside were ledgers, photographs, and dozens of grocery receipts taped to the walls in precise rows. Each receipt had a date, each had numbers written on the back, each corresponded to a person who had later died. Heart attacks, strokes, overdoses, accidents, deaths that had never raised suspicion. Until now. Now the ledgers told a story, names, dates, locations, and a fourth column. Every instance of it had been scratched out. Infrared imaging revealed what had been hidden. Payment status. Most entries were marked paid. Some were marked pending. 3 were marked overdue, Mark, Elaine, Noah. The earliest entry dated back more than 2 decades. A house fire declared accidental, 1 fatality. The victim was a real estate appraiser scheduled to inspect a property owned by Mark's father. The inspection never happened. The house passed anyway. The receipt tape beside the entry showed erased purchases, industrial cleaner, and acetone. That was the first correction. As investigators traced names, a pattern emerged. Every victim had been an obstacle, a zoning officer delaying permits, a partner threatening to expose fraud, a whistleblower preparing documents, people who stood between someone and money. The Caldwell family didn't see themselves as killers. They saw themselves as accountants. They balanced outcomes. They kept records. They waited. They believed the system rewarded patience. Carved faintly into the inside of a cabinet door were 4 rules. No blood. Blood leaves memory. Every action must be recorded. Payment is never immediate. If a debt is unpaid, it transfers. The 4th rule was underlined 3 times. Elaine's computer search history revealed panic. Can liability be inherited? What happens when a system audits itself? How long does poison remain active? One name in the ledger had no death certificate. The person hadn't died. He disappeared. And when payment stopped, the system noticed. Security logs showed the alarm disarmed briefly on the night of the deaths. 3 minutes, enough time to enter, enough time to leave something behind. The poisons were already in the house, hidden in supplements, in tea, in cleaning products used every day. The killer didn't poison them. He activated what they had prepared for others. The final enhanced audio revealed a full sentence. "You kept records. I kept copies." Months later, the house was demolished. Beneath the foundation, workers found one final object sealed in plastic. A receipt, blank, no date, no prices. As if the accounting wasn't finished. 2 weeks later, a detective received an envelope. No return address. Inside was a receipt from another city. On the back were 2 words, payment pending, below it, his name. But the case remains open. No arrests were made, but investigators learned something too late. Some systems don't collapse. They continue, quietly, carefully, and somewhere someone is still keeping receipts.